Welcome into your Arkansas football recruiting report. Hayden Herrera joining this week alongside Otis Kirk. Otis, what a week it was. We finally
Man,
settled the long-awaited coaching search, and Ryan Silverfield has been quite at work. We had signing day as well. National Signing Day has come and gone, and Arkansas has some signees. When you look at those 17, what jumps out at you?
the four that he flipped Monday really jumps out at me. Then kids like Colton Yarborough, Hugh Smith, Tucker Young, just all the kids that were committed to Sam, that stayed on board the whole time, Colton and all those kids, and they stand out to me. And then the four who flipped Monday stand out. So I mean, really, all of it. And you had two kids come over from Memphis. I really like both of them, but I really like that receiver, Jude Hall. He's 6'4", 200, had really good stats over at his high school in Greenville. Brandon Ford was from, I think it's Crowley, Texas. I know some people spell their name that way, but they pronounce it Crowley. But for some reason, I think that's Crowley. I think that's Crowley, Texas. But anyway, whatever. He was committed to Oklahoma State. When Gundy got fired, he eventually decommitted, the kid that went to Arkansas, Danny Beal did. So they both decommitted from Oklahoma State. Danny came here. Uh, uh, the cornerback went to he committed to Memphis, but then when Ryan left there to come here, he opted, Brandon did, to come here as well. So that was two good pickups. He got four Monday, all from inside the state. Jelani Smith, who was committed to Oklahoma originally. T.J. Hodges was committed to Missouri. Anthony Kennedy, I'm sorry, not Brandon Kennedy, that's former fullback here. Anthony Kennedy committed to Miami originally. And originally it was Missouri, then Miami. And then the other one was, we talked about, but Kennedy, Hodges, Smith, and Beal. So Beal already talked about that was the other one. He went to Oklahoma State committed to her and then came over here. So it was a good class.
Now,
I mean, the rating's not that good, but look, I mean, he had 3 days to put this thing together. But I don't look at the ranking. I look more at the fact. I'll tell you one thing I do like about this class, Hayden, and I can say this. I don't know where it'll be ranked when it's all said and done. The portal is going to be the main thing,
yeah.
without a doubt. But also, I look at the kids who signed here, and I don't see. I would name it if I saw one, but I'd be honest. I'd be honest and say I've got questions about one or two, and I don't have any questions about these kids. I think they can all, if they stay in the program and get developed, I think they'll all turn out to be okay. Some will obviously be better than others, but I don't see a single player in this class that I look at and I say, man, I don't think he can play here. I just don't see that. So I like that. I think that's good about it. So overall, I thought it was. If he hadn't added those four kids in the state and the two from Memphis, then might be room for a little bit more complaints. But people complain about this class shouldn't. He had 3 days to put this together, and I will say this: uh, not only Ryan, but Bobby and that staff too held those other commitments together till Ryan got here. So Bobby Petrino and that staff deserve, Eric Mateus and those guys deserve a lot of credit too for keeping the ones that were committed still committed. They lost some, which happens with any coaching change. We talked about two Oklahoma State commits coming over here, so and two Memphis commits coming. So it happens, but I'd be amiss if I didn't mention Bobby and those guys holding the ones like Colton and them together and getting them and waiting for the new coach and then go. But it says a lot about the character of the ones that did stay, and then I really like all four of those kids that flipped on Monday are really good players. T.J. Hodges won a state championship. Jelani Smith won a state championship. Right. Kennedy is just. I had him on here. No, it's before you guys came on board, but I had Kennedy on here first. I think he was one of the first recruits in this class that I had on, and he did really well. But he was just a big kid. Really wanted to be a hog, but the other staff didn't show much interest. They showed some, but they offered, but it felt like more of a token offer. And then Danny Beal, he really wanted to come here too, but again, Arkansas would. And I don't get that because with Colton Yarborough, Danny Beal, and Anthony Kennedy, you've got three defensive linemen. You've got a good start on having a heck of a defensive line class. Now you're going to have to add. You're obviously going to have to add from the portal, but that's three really good high school defensive linemen, and we all talk about they don't grow on trees. You can't get enough defensive linemen.
You mentioned the transfer portal earlier, and of course that'll play a big role in next year's
Mm-hmm.
roster. Is it too early to tell though if any of these guys that they signed could these be people we see right away in 2026?
Yeah, I think all three of those defensive linemen I just named could be. I mean, Hodges got a chance because you've got. I don't. Well, we don't know for sure who's coming back,
Right.
but you know, if Braylon and I feel good about the Cam Settles coming back. Don't know about Braylon, but if you know, but they're going to need a running back or two. Defensive lineman can play. Of course, at receiver, any of these kids at receiver have a chance to play. Uh, I just feel like probably not on the offensive line. Probably those would be good guys to redshirt and develop for a year, kind of like they did the ones last year. But you never know. But yeah, but I think those three defensive linemen could all plug in and play next year. I really do. And I don't mean just mop up duty. I'm talking about play a meaningful role. I'll be surprised if at least two of them don't.
Okay, all right, good to know.
And I don't know which two, but I'm just be surprised if at least two of those don't, and maybe all three.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, a lot to still unfold. You mentioned, how quickly Ryan Silverfield had to, put this whole thing together. Are you surprised though? Maybe he did that. You mentioned two from Memphis. Are you surprised he didn't have any more from Memphis, or maybe that those two were maybe the only ones that could really translate to SEC caliber?
No, I think those were the two that he had one. Jude was second highest rated commit. He had to. The first one though was an edge, but he was only 6'2". And so he's rated a little higher than Jude, but I don't think he wasn't that big, and that doesn't translate to the SEC. No, I think he was confident with two. I think he got the two he wanted. Now, when it comes portal time, you may see more Memphis kids. I would be surprised if you don't see more Memphis kids. That's one thing I was talking about earlier on this show. I don't remember when it was or who I was with, but I said, one thing about hiring a coach who's in place now, he should bring some players with him. Whereas if you hire a coach, let's just say, okay, let's say you hire John Gruden. He's not coaching. He's not going to bring recruits with you. I'm just throwing that out there. They weren't going to hire Gruden, but I'm just using him as an example. But if you hire the coach, Memphis, he should bring some recruits. Coach at South Florida probably takes some to Auburn. The coach at North Texas probably takes some to Oklahoma State. Coach at Tulane surely takes some to Florida. It's just the way it works, And I'm sure Kiffin's trying to get some at Ole Miss to LSU, It wouldn't be Kiffin if he wasn't. So, but anyway, yeah, I'll tell you. Hey, another thing I should mention that Ryan did. He landed two big ones: KJ Jackson and Quincy Rhodes. Man, they're coming back. And I was the most shocked person in that room when Quincy Rhodes came back, because I had been told all season by somebody supposedly close to him that he was probably going pro. And man, coming back, that's a big shot for the defensive coordinator, if it's Coach Roberts or whoever it is, and whoever the defensive line coach is. That is huge. And then not have to go get a transfer portal quarterback. You may go get one, right, but you don't have to get one to start. You can get one, and if he beats out KJ, so be it. But to get a quarterback coming back that showed at the end of the year how well he could play, I think those two were probably the two biggest commitments that Ryan got. And we talked about the in-state kids and the Oklahoma kid and all these other 3 and 4 stars, but those were probably, in all honesty, the two biggest commitments he'll get, even counting the portal. Those were huge. One for offense, one for defense, edge rusher, and a quarterback. Two of the most important positions on the field. And I almost forgot to mention those, but we can't talk commitments without talking about those two coming back. And I was shocked. I wasn't surprised with KJ, not at all. I figured he'd come back. I mean, the kid sat behind Talon for 2 years, paid his dues. To me, it'd be silly to kind of leave right now. So I didn't figure he would. But Quincy, I'd seen him late first, early second round draft picks. But one thing about it now that has changed that a little bit, Hayden, the fact that NIL has changed that. Used to, if a kid got a first or second round grade, he was automatically gone. Now, though, they can get NIL, stay at Arkansas, stay wherever they're at, develop another year, still get their money, and then go to the pros next year and be a little bit closer to being ready to play, maybe a lot closer to being ready to play, and not have to sit on the bench there so long. So I think it's a good deal to come back. I think it works out if you got it financially. And I'm hoping Quincy doesn't get a serious injury or something, but he may have insurance for that, probably does.
Yeah.
But it's good to get those two back. That was huge, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was one of the, I think a lot of Hog fans, that was probably one of their highlights of Thursday's news conference for sure. All right, well, a lot to get to. We've already covered a lot, but when we come back, we'll talk more about Ryan Silverfield and the coaching staff that he is starting to put together and get Otis's thoughts. Stick around, more of the Arkansas Football Recruiting Report when we return. We're back on the Arkansas Football Recruiting Report with Otis Kirk. I'm Hayden Herrera. Otis, nothing officially pinned to paper yet, but Ryan Silverfield, presumably has several of his coaching staff already in place based on some multiple national reports. Just,
Right.
Obviously, we would assume that perhaps those would be made official probably this week, but just from the names you've heard, does any of those jump out at you as someone that, you saw coming, or maybe you think will benefit the Hogs?
I figured he would keep Chesney, the offensive coordinator. That guy's done a really good job at Memphis. I figured unless Chesney was going to be named coach, which he wasn't, Coach Huff was named the coach over there, replaced him. I thought if Chesney didn't get that job replacing Ryan at Memphis, that he would probably bring him as offensive coordinator, which he did. Ron Roberts is kind of interesting in the fact that when Barry Odom left to go to, I guess, UNLV, when Barry left to go to UNLV, I was talking to Sam one day, and I said, "Hey, man, keep in mind Ron Roberts, is a coach." And he ended up hiring Travis Williams. He didn't hire Ron, but it was just interesting that when I was in Oklahoma Friday and I saw Ron Roberts, all the Ron Roberts stuff, including your story, and I'm thinking, wow, kind of what goes around comes back around, I guess, 3 years later. But yeah, I mentioned Ron to Sam then. He didn't hire him, and I wasn't trying to say hire him. I just said, there's one you might check out, and I guess he did and didn't hire him, or maybe Auburn outbid him. I don't know, but he ended up at Auburn and then to Florida, so whatever. But it looks like he's coming back here now. And then one I was talking about this morning was Chad Lunsford, the special teams coordinator. He was up for the Broyles Award in 2016, goes to top assistant coach in the country. Usually that's an offensive or defensive coordinator or something, but he was special teams. He got brought in for the Broyles Award. So he's obviously very good at what he does. Let me go back on Roberts for just a minute. I've seen some complaints about him, but we'll say one thing about Coach Roberts. What attracted me to him? He's aggressive. He likes to force the ball turnovers. He likes to force turnovers, and that's been a weakness at Arkansas the last 3 years. The offense has been in the giving away mode, but the defense has not been taking away mode. And I think, will change that. Hayden, I really do. He plays aggressive. He has his team play aggressive style defense, try to create turnovers and mismatches and stuff. And so that's what I like about him. I like a defense that's a little aggressive. I think if you play passive defense, I think you'll play passive. And that's not right way. If you've got a passive scheme, it leads to playing passive, which leads to missed tackles, just not being aggressive. And to me, defense is aggressiveness. I just think you've got to be aggressive on defense. If you're not, I think you're defeating the purpose. And that's not taking a shot at anybody. I'm just saying what I believe in and what I've seen. And I know Coach Roberts believes in that. So that's what I like about the guy. I mean, maybe somebody else wants somebody, and I get it. I mean, there's more than one defensive coordinator in the country that's good. But I like Roberts, and I'm not a bit surprised about Crimson. Once he didn't get that job, then it was pretty obvious he was going to come here. And then Lunsford, like I said, I remember he was up for the Broyles Award in 2016. He's been a head coach for 4 years at Georgia Southern. I wrote it this morning. I think he was like 25 and 17, something like that. 4 years as a head coach. And he's been an interim head coach a couple of times at another school. So he's got some experience he's coached other stuff. So he's been the head coach's chair. He's been special teams coordinator. So I think he's pretty versatile, and I like that. But I do like the fact that he got recognized for the Broyles Award as special teams coordinator. That's pretty good. And then he's got 4 years of head coaching experience. So, I think if Ryan needed to lean on his shoulder, he'd probably lean on him, I know Coach Chesney, Ramsey was elevated this past year, if I'm not mistaken, to assistant head coach for the first time. That was this just for 2025. I believe he was named assistant head coach. He'd been offensive coordinator for that, and he's still offensive coordinator. But if I'm not mistaken, Ryan promoted him also to assistant head coach this past year. So those three hires make sense. I've seen Larry Smith mentioned at wide receiver being hired, but you know what? I went on the Memphis official website this morning. I went on all those official websites of these schools, all, and on the Memphis website, they've removed Silverfield, they've removed Ramsey, but they have not removed Smith. He's still on there, so I don't know. Maybe he's going to coach the bowl game and then come to Arkansas after that. I don't know, which wouldn't really be a big deal since it's kind of recruiting slow right now. So that may be an arrangement that Ryan and coach and people at Memphis have. I don't know. But I just found it odd that his name is still on there when the other two are not. So I'm not ready to say he's been hired, but it may be a deal like I say he's going to coach in both. And I do know that he's been down trying to. Well, but I mean, Ryan's trying to get the running back coach at Florida State, who's really highly thought of, is also their recruiting coordinator. Anytime you get a recruiting coordinator in this day and age, it's always good to get that guy, and they will need a running back coach. I don't think he's going to keep anybody on the staff. I may be wrong, but if Mateus was the one I thought he would probably keep, that's the one I thought. I don't know about Morgan Turner, the tight end coach. That could be another one. I don't think he'll keep anyone on defense, but we'll see.
Were you surprised with Mateus? He obviously has a great love for the university.
Well, yeah, it did surprise me, but I was told by a recruit. I got a call Monday from a recruit who had talked to him, and he said Eric told him, "I'm a dead man walking." So I knew then he was probably gone. That's what the recruit told me, that Eric told him Monday. So I wasn't surprised. I was surprised to hear, but I didn't report that because I kept thinking, this could change. Ryan that was Monday evening. Ryan got here Sunday, and it was a whirlwind. And I'm thinking, Ryan may get to know him and get to talking to him and decide to keep him. So that's why I didn't report that. But I thought he might change his mind and keep him. I would have. But then again, like I just put on X, I think it was, I would never criticize, or rip a coach for getting his own people in here.
Right.
Me, I would have kept Eric. But if a coach wants to bring in his people and do it, look, man, he's got every right to do that. And I would never criticize anyone for doing that, Ryan or anyone. If Bobby had come and he'd got rid of some of them, he'd want to bring in his own people, that'd have been fine with me too. That's the way it works in this business. I've had a lot of friends, assistant coaches over, Jim Washburn, a bunch of them, Dennis Winston, that were not retained, here and there, and coaching changes. So, two on Danny Ford staff with Dennis Winston, Fitz Hill, and Jim Washburn. Fitz that Houston kept, but he didn't keep Dennis Winston and Jim Washburn. I had dinner with those guys or breakfast and dinner with them before they left. And, your friends come and go, but Coach Nutt had a right to come in here and pick out who he wanted to keep, who he didn't. And that's what he did. So it nothing really surprised me too much. But yeah, at first I did, because I thought going in, the two I thought he might keep was Mateus and Morgan Turner, the tight end coach. Those were the two I thought. And we haven't heard about tight end. I haven't heard anything anyway on a tight end coach. Right. Or anything, but it would not surprise me at this point if Ryan doesn't keep anyone on staff. But hopefully I'm wrong there. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't go over this. But if he keeps Turner, that would be Morgan Turner. That would be a good move too. But he may not.
So we're officially 1 week into the Silverfield era. Last week we had students protesting outside, campus, but now it seems like people have changed their tune. He's made some public appearances. How do you wrap up this first week of the Silverfield era?
Great. I mean, I think he's done everything you could have asked, maybe more, because I didn't know he could flip 4 of those 3 4-stars, 1 3-star on Monday. And I didn't know he could keep Quincy Rhodes. I really didn't. I think he's done everything you could ask. He was in North Little Rock yesterday cheering on the Razorback basketball team. The guy's hit the ground. He's got I like the fact he's got a lot of energy, Hayden. He really does. And I think that translates to your team. I'm not saying that's the only way you can coach a team to have a lot of energy, because I know like Tom Landry was successful for many years, and guys that didn't show a bit of outward energy. But so there's different ways to skin a cat, skin a cat. But those are different ways. But I do like to coach with energy, because I do think that translates, especially in college. You get in the NFL, it might be a bit too much, but in the college, I think it's good, and I like that. I think he'll do well. I think he'll do well here. I mean, I don't know that, but the people that were protesting, the people that's on X still griping about Facebook, saying they're going to turn in their tickets or protest. Look, they don't know he's going to be bad. They sit there and tell me you don't know he's going to be good. First, they said you don't know he's going to be great, and I said I've never said he'd be great. Don't say I don't know he'll be great because I've never said he would be. I have said three things. I hope Hunter gives him a chance, equal money wise. They never have made some of these schools, but they said Thursday they're in the upper half. That's giving him a chance. Hopefully that builds on. And if Ryan wins, that will keep building up, I think. Second, I think everybody should give the man a chance. That's all he needs is a chance. Everybody deserves a chance. You're new here. You deserve a chance. When I came up, I deserved a chance. Everybody deserves a chance. And I think Ryan does. That's all I'm saying. And then the third thing, if you do those two things, you give him the money to compete with, you give him a chance. What he does with that chance is up to him. If he doesn't succeed, then you get rid and get somebody else. That's what I've said. Hey, I've never said anybody. I'm not going to sit here and say a coach will be great. There's too many variables to that. But I do say give him a chance. But I do think my gut feeling is he's going to be okay. There's a difference between going to be okay and great. He may be great, but I haven't said that. But I do think he'll be okay.
All right. Well, before we wrap things up, the 12-team playoff officially out. Really quick, any thoughts on the bracket?
Yeah, I was happy Texas didn't make it. I'm sorry if there's Texas fans out here. They're going to send in notes. They're probably going to rip me on Twitter. But I was glad Texas didn't make it. Honestly, I thought Notre Dame should have made it than one of the group of 5 schools. But, I mean, I was surprised 2 of them got in, I believe. But I just glanced at them. I think it was Tulane and James Madison both got in. Mm-hmm. Over Notre Dame. I was a little surprised there. I was glad Texas didn't get it. I didn't think they deserved it. But I was surprised last night, and I know Evan's excited that Indiana beat Ohio State. And it didn't bother me they beat Ohio State. I was just surprised. But there again, there's the deal where this is his second year in Indiana, Hayden. And look what he's done in Indiana in 2 years. That's why I say don't count out Silverfield. Same way with the guy at Vanderbilt. Don't count. He went to Vanderbilt, built that program up. Both those were the laughing stock of the conferences when those 2 coaches went there. That's what I'm saying with Silverfield. Anything can happen. And I agree with Ryan. It doesn't take 3. You don't have to be on a 3-year plan. I loved he said that. He didn't come in here with a 3-year plan. He came in here to try to change his turn. If nothing else, if he can just change the atmosphere around the team, the chemistry and stuff, that would be great. Great start, regardless of how many games we win. Just the culture's got to be changed. The culture has got to be changed, and he's trying to do that. So, hey, I commend Brian. I thought he had a really good first week. Really good one.
Yeah, what a week it was. And what a show it was. We've already wrapped up. This has been a great chat with you, Otis. Always good to talk to you. We'll see you next week. For Otis Kirk, I'm Hayden Herrera. This has been your Arkansas Football Recruiting Report. We'll see you next time.